Everything you learned in history class was a lie. Well, maybe not everything, but they skipped the best parts. Introducing Stupiracy, where stupidity meets conspiracy. Ever heard of the Olympic marathon that nearly killed its runners? Or the time a pope put another pope's corpse on trial? Join me, Scott Rizzuto, and Tim McKernan as we uncover the most outrageous historical moments and mind-blowing conspiracies you won't believe actually happened. Tune into Stupiracy for your weekly dose of historical absurdity. Available wherever you get your podcasts. Remember, history is dumb, but laughing at it is smart.
So did you ever have any interactions with Kobe?
The most I ever had with Kobe was during that 6-game series against the Lakers, the one shining moment in Wolves franchise history when they made it to the Western Conference Finals. And of course, we got contact with Kobe every day there for about 10 days, and he was in the middle of hell right then. He was in the Colorado sexual assault thing was still he still had that charge hanging over his head. He was in a big feud with Shaq about who should be the star of the team. And then they had Gary Payton and Karl Malone had come in, a couple of wily old vets to win a championship, and they were being driven crazy by Kobe and Shaq feuding with each other as to who should be the star. So that wasn't a happy time in his life. I get the impression he became a better person when he became the father of daughters, don't you think?
Sounds like it.
Yeah, it sounds like it for them. And I love this. I've said it a couple of times. I love this little 8-second video of him when he's sitting there in the front row showing her how to make a cut. It's just 8 seconds long, but she gives him that look like, yes, Dad, I've heard that like 25 times. You know, this little smile on her face like, yeah, I've heard this about 25 times, but thank you, you know. So
Did you ever see a story did you ever see a story so misreported in the early stages? Isn't that something?
Well, TMZ was pretty damn good. TMZ didn't, they had 5 for sure. They always said 5 for sure.
Well, they got lectured by the sheriff because the sheriff hadn't even had time to contact the family.
But the parents, the report that it might be all his children was not them. You know, that was just somebody.
That was ABC.
Somebody saying, well, let's see, there's 5 people in the plane, and we know one of his daughters, so he must have been flying someplace with his kids or something, and they killed off the whole family. So
there's a long line of athletes who have been killed in air accidents.
Well, this one's really easy to explain. They were flying when they shouldn't have been.
Right.
There was a thick fog and the whatever we call the highway patrol out there, and they weren't flying their helicopters, and the sheriff's department weren't flying theirs, and I can see Kobe though being the belligerent guy he is. Oh, come on, we can make it. Let's go. I'm not saying it was him, but he got so used to helicopter travel, I guess he thought it was invincible. But the blow by blow on him, circling around and above that zoo to see if they can see any, if they can get a clearer vision. I wonder if the guy was looking for a place to land.
We had Ken Melchior, Channel 5's helicopter pilot, on, and he did a marvelous explanation of what was taking place, and the pilot he lost his spatial recognition. He didn't know if he was up or down, and they were in fog, and he crashed into a mountain.
Yeah, because he was trying to follow a freeway the way it sounded, and then all of a sudden he made a turn and went right into the mountain. Wow, what a story!
Knute Rockne, March 1931.
Yes.
Roberto Clemente, New Year's Eve 1972. Thurman Munson, August of 79. Rocky Marciano.
How many? Rocky, that's right.
1969. Ken Hubbs, the Chicago Cubs infielder.
I remember that one well. He was the Rookie of the Year, I believe.
1963. 37 members of the Marshall University football team in 1970.
Helicopter.
Stewart.
Davey Allison, helicopter.
Payne Stewart. Corey Little. Davey Allison.
Little was the one in New York City, right? Wasn't that? Didn't they run into a building in New York City?
Corey Little.
I thought
Yes. Manhattan high-rise, October of 06.
Yes. Was that a helicopter, too?
Nope.
Okay.
University of Evansville men's basketball coach Bobby Watson and 14 players, December of 1977.
Worst headline ever written. The DeQuinn, Illinois paper.
Yep.
Evansville loses by 27.
That's not good.
No. That some young man or woman who wrote that headline was not employed the next day, I would guess.
And Roy Halladay just 3 years ago, in Florida.
And when you see him flying around, you're not surprised at all. And he was a daredevil in one of those little tiny planes and killed himself. But when was Davey Allison in the helicopter?
I can get that for you. It's right here. Davey Allison was a NASCAR champion, and that was, there's Payne Stewart. Davey Allison, July 1993, helicopter he was piloting crashed at the Talladega Speedway.
Yes, he was, rather than drive over from Hueytown, where he lived, I believe, he decided to take the helicopter over to Talladega, and he came in and he crashed, hit a building. I went to Talladega that year after that I went to Hueytown and then wrote a big, long piece about him and then covered the race that day, and they damn near killed 2 guys that day at the race. Neil Bonnet went into the fence, and a guy named Stan Smith went out of the ballpark, as they say. And I don't think he ever recovered, but he didn't die. So.
New York and L.A., according to Ken Melchior, are the most active helicopter cities in the country.
Oh, yeah.
And you got to think that Kobe wasn't the only guy to fly to home games.
No, he was the most famous, though, because he started doing it in the early 90s. I think Wick's got a great column on it, and I think he said it was a 23-year-old helicopter or something. And Kobe bought it new, so whenever that was. Kobe was famous for, here comes Kobe. They'd all be waving at it outside Staples Center when they come flying in there. And, wow. It's one of those, it's not an emotional impact for me, as far as him as a guy or anything, but just the story and then the daughter, of course, is a sad element to it, and the rest of the family. But this isn't like Puck dying or something, but it's terrible. I mean, it's brutal.
Did you know much about the baseball coach, Pat, that was on board with him?
No, but again, I saw Wick. He said he was pretty well known out there because he sent a lot of guys to big Division I schools.
Well,
out
he coached
there,
Aaron Judge too, didn't he?
Yeah, right. Yeah, and that's a famous junior college where you go to that junior college, and when you go to junior college, you don't have to wait 3 years. You only have to wait 2 to get into the draft, or maybe even 1. So it's there's a tremendous number of junior colleges out in California with great athletics, and they're one of them apparently. So we don't quite know the connection of this woman who died, who left 4 kids. She didn't have any of her children on the plane. She was one of the coaches or something.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
So.
And then what? There's basically 3 sets of parents and 3 daughters, and then and the pilot, and I don't know. It's you're right. It took a long time to get the story straight. That's for sure.
Yeah, I went from 5 to 9. 9 was the shocker. Oh,
yeah.
Say the Timberwolves might as well stay with the NBA. Is this just going to be a forever long-running joke? What's the deal here?
Joe, since December 1st, they have had a 10-game losing streak, or 11-game, 11-game losing streak, and now they have 9. And yes, this
is ridiculous.
They have a stand in a sports market that has never been this bursting per capita, the biggest sports market in America, right?
Us?
With yes, the Twin Cities. When you throw in a major college, you throw in a Big Ten with a soccer team. We got all 5 sports. They all got their own ballpark, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's got their own facility and everything. They're the lost stepchildren of the prairie, aren't they?
They really are.
Who the hell would go watch them? Who are you going to go watch? I mean, they're missing 27 three-pointers a night.
Yep.
The 27. Shoot threes if you can make them. If you can't make them, don't shoot them. They drive me crazy.
That's a good plan.
Whatever happened
Whatever happened to our glitterati? Who is in our glitterati now?
Denny Hecker, he ended up having some trouble. Denny's out now, though, right?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Hey, Denny, I think Denny got out. He could probably afford to get front row seats the way things are going there now, even if he doesn't have any money left. Denny could give you some old stock options or some damn thing.
The next time all these kids want to go to a game, I'm going to say, don't look at me.
What was that? What was the outpouring of cash?
$1,100.
You're on the list now, baby. Yeah. They're going to be calling up, offering you deals.
They didn't get my money's worth.
Yeah, that was the loss to who? Cleveland or somebody who's terrible, right?
But the kids got their picture taken with that monkey or whatever, the wolf or whatever the hell.
Yeah, the wolf was. Yeah,
it might as well be a monkey now.
Yeah, boy, he's jumping around now and just acting like a fool, and there's 4,000 people ignoring him. It's brutal. Mm-hmm. But you know what? We've changed culture.
Yeah, sure we have.
We were big on changing culture, man.
How'd that work out for you?
No more of that barking. We don't have a coach barking at the players anymore. They like him a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah, that likability is very important with this franchise.
Well, it's a mess.
Hey, Reavers.
Yes, sir.
You like Jim Pete, just like I do.
Sure, yeah.
What has happened to him?
Well, I'd love to comment. I haven't been tuning in many Wolves games.
Okay, haven't been tuning in. Jim Pete is so trying to convince us good things are happening here. Just stay here and look at the big picture. I know he was on the search committee for Gerson, which could be a bit of a conflict of interest.
I also think that he's really, really trying to get the crowd behind Ryan Saunders, because I know he's a big fan of Ryan.
Well, and he hated Tibbs.
Yes.
Thibodeau and him. Thibodeau wouldn't tell him anything, and he took that very personally. So, but it's awful, Joe. It's just brutal.
Mm-hmm. I know.
And I mean, you even got the Gophers across the way now drawing. They had a nice crowd yesterday, and they got their arse kicked.
They didn't play well yesterday.
Well, that was 100% predictable because Michigan State stunk it out 3 nights earlier, and you knew Coach Izzo was not going to allow that kind of effort once again, and they came in and played. But the Big Ten's got about 11 teams that are pretty much the same, and Michigan State's probably got the best talent, but they haven't played up to their standards either.
Did the Gophers win at Michigan State?
No, they lost.
No. They beat Michigan. They won at Ohio State.
That's right.
On Thursday. Ohio State came here on December 15th, rated 3rd in the country. If they were going to win, if they had won that day against the Gophers, they would have vaulted to number 1. I think they're now 2-7 in the Big Ten. They just one of the great tank jobs of all time. And now before they could win on the road, now they can't win at home either. It's amazing what's happened in that league.
What's going on in the fort? Please tell me there's sunshine.
The sun did come out today. It was cloudy this morning.
We don't have any sun here anymore.
The weather's been fairly perfect. It's been pretty good. But yesterday, I decided to take a little drive out to the beach, and it took me about an hour to get off, so I'm not going to have to do that again. But anyway, yeah, it's okay. Kind of boring.
What vitamin do you take to replace absent sunlight? Is it D?
I don't have that issue.
He's got the good skin, right?
I'm a bronze Greek god, baby.
Is Patrick your go-to vitamin expert?
Yeah, I thought he'd know.
I can't even remember the one I've been told I have to take every day. I don't know. It was E. I got about 3 of them there, and I just grabbed some day and eat them. And I don't know if they're the right ones or the wrong ones or not. But how are you doing with the virus? Are you worried about it?
No.
Is it? Where is it? It was in. What have we done in Chicago? We had one guy in Chicago so far. That's it.
It was a gal, and she quieted it down, and I guess she's okay.
And we have one in Orange County.
Did she have? We got one in
St. Paul, don't we? I think we got one in St.
Paul.
I didn't
know that.
Yeah.
So right now the problem is that we don't have any way to give them a shot and say this will take care of it. We're not doing anything.
That would be correct.
There's no antibiotics, huh?
No, I think shot. It's resistant to antibiotics, apparently.
So the wife was telling me this story that she suggested I watch this documentary because she's an expert on documentaries. The one about how the companies, the drug companies, are not doing antibiotics anymore, trying to discover new antibiotics because it breaks them. They don't have it costs them so much money. They don't have any help to get them, that nobody is trying to find new antibiotics. So if the old ones don't work, we're screwed.
Yeah.
And so basically she says this. So you want me to watch a documentary about how the world's going to get wiped out by a new strain of flu. Is that right? Yeah. And she said, well, and then I just saw Netflix just sent me a email saying, you'll want to watch our new series, Pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to watch that Pandemic one, too.
Uplifting.
I can walk
It's
around.
a real
and
knee slapper.
Yeah.
I can fret about that. So I got to tell you, I got a couple of stories, though. The wife, now another one she gets going on this week are last week are the pythons that have invaded Florida.
They're everywhere.
They're now up. They're headed for Disney World.
Right.
They came up the Kissimmee River, right out of Okeechobee. They're coming up. They're swimming up like crazy. Somebody's going to go into SeaWorld one of these days and gets grabbed by a python, right?
Yep.
And she says to me, she bellows. She doesn't bellow that often, but she bellows into the next room. My God, they cut a 23-year-old man out of one of them.
Wow.
The pythons.
Yeah.
And I said, relax. He might have been a small 23-year-old man. God almighty.
Oh, my
Who
word.
was do you know, I thought this was idiots throwing their pythons in the jungle, but apparently they had some research institute. And then when when one of the hurricanes hit, all the pythons got out and headed for the glades, and they reproduce every 3 months.
Oh, my word.
Yeah, there's not like the gestation period, and then they have like 30 eggs each. And I think when the first one gets seen, and they haven't made it to the fort yet, but they got them in Naples. So.
Well, Florida's becoming like Australia. Everything will kill you.
Yeah.
There's nothing safe there.
Well, that's.
Hey, did you see the movie?
That's going to be good for sales.
Did you see 1917?
Not yet. How depressing is it?
It's not necessarily depressing.
It's wonderful, right?
It's grueling.
Because you got the camera's on two guys the whole movie, right?
Yeah, it's one long shot.
Wow.
It's
I
really
got to
neat.
go. I might go tonight.
Yeah.
I might go tonight. So but World War I, I'm not in favor of any wars, right? Mm-hmm. I'm against them.
All right.
But World War I, I'm really against. Mm-hmm. The hygiene was very bad.
Yeah, they didn't have good
very
hygiene.
Bad hygiene.
That's right.
Pooping when you sleep is just not something that appeals to me.
No, and you do it.
Even at your age?
In this movie.
I might do it occasionally, but I don't approve.
Okay, that's a distinction. There's a distinction, yes.
In this movie, you see the horrible condition of the human race.
That's what that was you know what? War, is very frightening right now, considering how we could just blow up everybody, right?
Right.
But at least it wouldn't be as, like the guys in the 1800s and said they just marched straight at people,
right.
Let them shoot them. I mean, and then we got these guys hiding in a trench for like months.
Yep.
What it doesn't do you. You either got to go forward or backward here. You can't just stay here and poop.
Ambition.
Yeah.
Well, I was reminded of the great scene from Laurel and Hardy when Stan is still fighting World War I in about 1935, and they see the pile of bean cans outside the trench. Remember that?
Yeah.
I don't know. Did I see this one?
Oh yeah, you did. That's when he gets out, and Ollie discovers him and invites him over to dinner, and they wreck the house and the garage.
Oh, because Ollie thought he was dead?
Yeah.
Well, but
Okay.
the great thing is when he picks him up at the hospital,
He picks him up on a park bench.
he goes to get the wheelchair,
Right.
and the wheelchair, his leg is in the way, so he puts his leg underneath. So when Ollie sees him, he thinks he only has one leg, so he's carrying him around and doing everything, and then finally he just stands up and goes, "What the hell?"
Look up the name of that one. It's escaping me.
Is that Flying Deuces?
No,
No?
it's not. Oh, for Pete's sake, I can't think of it.
Wow.
It's one of their best, though, and the trenches reminded me of that because the set design. I'm sure 1917 will win a lot of awards, but they got to win for set design. It's just incredible.
Blockheads.
Blockheads.
Yeah.
Blockheads, yeah. Oh man. Hey, I got another domestic story.
Yeah.
So the list the other day that I have to take, I got the list. You know, the
Yeah.
list is a bad thing here because I can't get her to go to the Publix. I got to go. She's got spinach, right?
Yep.
So
Spinach.
I figured the only spinach I've ever seen in my life or eaten is all mushed up, right?
Right.
Oh, no.
And, so I finally have to call her. I said, hey, I thought they sold it in a gob, like a gob, and then
Like
you just cook
Popeye.
it. Then you just cook it,
It's in a can, isn't it?
Well,
No.
yeah, there's that kind.
Yeah.
But she wanted fresh spinach.
Like a lettuce head.
Yes.
And yeah.
From the
But I
produce
didn't
section.
even know what, so these little Levy, I said, like these Levy things they put in those horse crap spinach salad.
Yeah.
And she hung up on me. She wouldn't even talk to me. She thought I was so stupid.
Yeah.
But here's what you do with your spinach. You bring it home and then you cook it, and then it gets in a big gob. It doesn't come that way.
You
I
can
found
save a
that out.
snap by getting the
I got-
Popeye stuff right out of the can.
I had never done that. I've never bought spinach in my life.
The
I
greatest
realize.
ploy I use is, because I'm always being complained that I don't go to a store and cook, and I say, give me a list.
Yeah, right.
Me a list.
I'm not giving you a list because I'll just do it myself. It's much easier.
Yeah, right. Well, it saves all of us time and ridicule.
Yep.
That's right. If they do that.
The problem is Patrick was walking around the Publix just like last week asking for sweet spinach.
No,
is what he wanted.
no. I did ask an old gal, about my age, old gal. I said, "Hey, it says on my list here, fresh spinach. What is it?"
Yeah.
She said, I don't know what she wants. What does she want? This? I said, I don't know. So
She
we
hung
had
up on me.
we had a big discussion. So I brought it home, and it was okay. She did a fine job of preparing spinach.
Uh-huh.
Had a little salmon, nice fresh salmon with spinach. That wasn't bad.
No,
Once you
it's
figure
all
out
right.
what you're
Spinach
doing
is all
for.
right.
You know what else you do with the salmon? I found out you can do this. If you don't eat it all, you smush it up the next day and make a nice little salmon salad sandwich out of it. It was terrific. Yes,
right.
yes.
One of life's
That's
simple
true.
pleasures in Southwest
Yes.
Florida.
Have you seen any ball players yet?
Not many. There's some of the lads over here. They had a big drink of water I saw pitching the other day, and they're the sort of these undistinguished young prospects that nobody knows who any of them are yet. I'm going to have to come over here tomorrow and see who's made it in here, who I might have heard of. Although Josh Donaldson made quite a presentation at the Twins Fest, right, Reavers?
He did.
Everybody was all in on him.
I was thinking about all those glory years we got to spend over at Twins Fest, including the year that the four of us sat at the Metrodome, where Joe was making comments about the Teflon sky.
Well, it turned out, from what I understand, to be a very good idea to just make it a day and a half. That the crowd was bursting on Saturday, and but those Sunday afternoons. By the Sunday afternoons, nobody was there, and the players would get disgusted because they were standing in the line and nobody'd be there.
I know Friday
so
night
they
sold
jammed
out.
them in.
Yeah.
It was sold out on Friday, and they jammed them in on Saturday, and that was it.
Yep.
So, but this guy, we got a budding controversy though, Joe.
What's that?
Eddie Rosario's number 20.
Yeah.
And Josh Donaldson wants to be number 20.
Uh-oh. What do we do?
And Donaldson apparently thought that Eddie might be easy to dissuade, but Eddie's got a lot of jewelry with 20 on it, right?
Oh, yeah.
And plus, Eddie doesn't want to, Eddie thinks he's one of the team stars, right?
Right.
He doesn't want to all of a sudden, hey, Eddie, would you give me your number? So this could be a controversy.
Well, what's the protocol? Does Donaldson offer to pay him?
Donaldson offers something, but I don't think Eddie wants the money. I think Eddie wants 20.
Yeah.
He's got, he's got jewelry with 20 on it. His wife's got jewelry with 20 on it.
Kobe had 2 different numbers in his career.
Yes, 8 and 24, and I can't remember why he changed.
We looked it up, and the answer, Rook,
Is that was his number in high school?
8 was.
Yes.
No, 24 was.
24 was. He started
was.
with 8 as
8,
the Laker.
yes.
And then
was
went
there
to
another
24.
Laker there when he got there that had 24, perhaps?
That story did not mention that.
I'm going to guess so. I'm going to guess
Probably.
that's probably why.
But let me ask, Pat, going back to the Timberwolves passed on Kobe for Marbury or?
They drafted Ray Allen, but then traded him for Stephon Marbury.
Yeah, Kobe went where in that draft?
Number 12.
Number 12, yeah, because he was, Garnett had come out the year before, and Kobe was the second of the new generation of high school guys to come out. But Jerry West loved him, and Jerry West did the Lakers draft him or did they trade?
No,
him?
Charlotte drafted him, then they traded him to the Lakers for Vlade Divac.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
wow.
yeah, that's right. Who had been in the league by then, right?
And was also well known for smoking cigarettes in the locker room.
Oh God, could he smoke? He could smoke. I loved Lottie though. He was a character.
How rare is it that Kobe stayed with just one team? Pretty rare in this day and
Yeah,
age.
yeah. Wick tells me that they loved him out there, even with the thing in 2004 with the rape allegation. He came out of that in the other end, and they loved Kobe because he, much more so than Shaq, because A, he was a lifer, and B, he just played a more exciting game. Shaq, you throw it inside and he throws somebody out of the way and dunks it or lays it in, and Kobe would do stuff. So. Mm-hmm. And he was plus he was Kobe. If his name was Bill, would have they been that excited about him? But he was Kobe.
Can you think of another athlete right now, God forbid, who died in a helicopter crash tomorrow who would get this much attention?
Tom Brady.
Brady, probably. Gretzky, maybe.
Brady's.
Derek Jeter, maybe.
Yeah, Jeter.
I can't really come up with a football.
I don't
player
want
other
to
than
have
Brady.
to really be the guy to kill somebody off here. So.
Yeah, you've done that before. Who was
right.
was it Jerry Kuzman?
Kuzi, we killed Kuzi.
You killed him. Yep.
Killed Vern Mickelson off.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Vern
Yeah,
Mickelson.
that
I
was
was thinking Walter
Vern
Bush.
Mickelson. I was pulling into the parking lot at the X, and I get were we cell phones by then? Yeah, I guess we were.
Yeah.
And my lousy, undependable cell phone, I get a call saying, Sid told us Vern Mickelson died. And I said, oh, God, I love Vern. I'll come back and write a column. I'm pulling in the parking lot at the Star Tribune. I get another call. And I've told you guys on the way back. I told you guys I did my show on the way back, our hit on the radio, and I said, "Yeah, Vern died. What a hell of a guy.
Yeah.
God, he's a good guy." And I just saw him a while back, and everything's fine.
Yeah.
I pull into the parking lot of the Star Tribune. Vern didn't die. Joey Hutton Jr. died. And Vern told Sid that Joey Hutton Jr.
Oh, my God. It's the telephone.
Somehow the guy Sid was talking to became the dead guy.
Yeah.
And Joey Hutton Jr., who had died, had told Sid that Vern Mickelson died. So he reversed the roles there of the two guys. So I called up Vern, and I said, Vern, you made the greatest comeback in history. I killed you off about an hour ago. I said, Sid's got you dead. And I ended up writing a column about Sid. Joey didn't make her, but Vern's alive.
Well, he took it all right.
I think we killed off Pohlad, too, but he was actually dead. Carl Pohlad, but we were just premature by a couple hours.
Well,
they hadn't announced it yet, but I think he had actually died.
Well, what a fantastic thing to celebrate life. And if you have a party where you want to go celebrate something, maybe an anniversary, maybe a birthday.
I'm running the clock on it.
You're going to go to Jack's Cafe. No, listen, I'm going to read this email you gave to me.
Yep.
I'm not going to do a regular Jack's.
Jack's. I am the proud owner of a $300. Well, my wife's the proud owner of a $300 gift certificate for Jack's. Boys, when I get back, we're all eating at Jack's.
Amen to that. I already know what I'm going to get.
Mrs. Ricey.
Right.
Don't tell her.
I'll order the spinach.
I'm getting spinach, too.
I'm getting sweet Italian
I want
dressing.
sweet Italian dressing.
Well, Memory Lane, 1980. This comes from Chuck Geist, who sent this in. I started to date a Western Airlines stewardess in the summer. Yes, they were proud to be called that back then. I was going to ask her out again to dinner with me when she told me that her mother was in town. Seeing the opening I looked for, I invited them to go to Jack's Cafe in Minneapolis with me. I made a reservation, told the person on the phone that it was a bit of a special night with my date's mother in tow. The woman on the phone asked me if her mother smoked. I said yes. She said, well, they monogrammed matchbooks with guests' names on them. I told her that would be a wonderful surprise. She took down my date's mother's name. Anyway, we had dinner there, which was fabulous. The rookie menu not available back then, of course. The Jack's matchbook courtesy really impressed both of them. I received an endorsement from her mom, and 40 years of marriage to that flight attendant this June made it all worth the while. I never smoked, but what a cool tradition Jack's Cafe had back then, and they still have that now if you make a special arrangement. You give them a buzz at go online to jackscafe.com and tell them that the rookie sent you. You heard it on the Monday Night Sports Talk podcast. That's all I'm doing for Jack's, except I should say 612-789-7297.
Hey, Pat.
Jackscafe.com.
Yes, sir.
Why does hockey get a week off in the middle of the year?
I don't know. It doesn't. I don't think everybody does, though, right? Just this happens to be the Wild's break, right?
Well, there's no games tonight that I'm aware of.
Maybe so. The whole league gets a week off.
I think so. Here,
Oh,
I'll
is that
verify
stupid?
that. Let me look, because I probably got this wrong. Tiger just couldn't make it happen yesterday, could he?
Well, I think, and they didn't tell him about his buddy Kobe either till the round was over. But he just looked flat yesterday.
Don't we
I was
have
thinking
hockey
that
standings in the damn paper? I guess we don't.
Maybe not on a Monday. I'm looking here.
Well, Monday shouldn't have anything to do with it. No, there's no hockey that I'm aware. Yes, there is. Tampa Bay's at Dallas tonight.
See, not everybody gets their break at the same time, which is
The
it's
Wild
really
don't play again
stupid.
till Saturday.
It's really stupid to get your week
Yeah,
off.
there's several games.
Get your All-Star game off. You got your All-Star break, and then you don't play for another 5 days. I don't know. They've had the dumbest schedule of all time.
I think
They're on
so.
home 11 out of 12 games. Weird.
And they can still make the playoffs, although I don't think they would advance very deep.
No, they're going to be one and done.
But we're getting excited. How about getting the commie over here for the playoffs?
Which commie?
Kaprasov, the guy from Russia.
Oh, yeah?
Their season ends earlier than ours. Let's get him over here.
Is he available once their season concludes?
I'm not sure. I think he has a contract for this year, and they probably not. But he's 5'9". He's a guy, Joe. He's Patrick Kane of Russia.
Well, we need the guy. We need a guy.
He's supposed to be good. I read something that 7 Russian hockey experts were polled and as to who's the next star from Russia to play in the NHL, and 6 of them said Kaprasov.
Well, who has his rights?
The Wild.
We do.
We do?
Mm-hmm.
We got him.
Well, let's
He's like
go
a 4th-round draft choice from the Chuck Fletcher era, right?
Yes.
Well, get him over here.
It can't be from the Paul Fenton era. He wasn't long enough to have an era.
I don't think
He was
he had
here
a draft,
11
did he?
months. I think he had 1 draft. Yeah, he had 1 draft. Even not Kaprasov. Yeah, let's get him over here, little guy.
Did you see Russo's story on that whole tenure with Fenton, by the way?
That he's as objective on Fenton as Tibbs was on as Peterson is on Tibbs. Fenton wouldn't tell him anything.
But he did have quotes
took it
from
personally.
other GMs, though, around the league that were basically laughing at what a disaster he was as the general manager.
Well, what bad trade did he make? He got rid of that stiff Granlund. They wanted him to get out from under Nito's contract, and he got rid of Charlie Coyle for Donato, which you probably would rather have Charlie Coyle, but not by much, right?
Yeah, I guess.
And he signed this. He's the guy that signed this Zuccarello, right?
Yes, he did.
Who's okay, you know. I don't think he's as big a disaster as Russo says he is because Russo didn't like him.
I think it's just going to be a long, long time before we ever have a parade.
Unless it's the World Series parade.
That's going to happen before a Stanley Cup parade. That's going to happen before an NBA title. That's going to happen before a Super Bowl.
Hey, I didn't see this, but I'm told our guy Kurt had a crucial fumble yesterday in the Pro Bowl. Is that right, Reavers?
Well, I'd love to give you a Pro Bowl update, but I didn't.
But somebody returned it 88 yards for a touchdown.
I watched it for 37 seconds, and it looked like they didn't want to tackle each other.
Well, they don't.
It's just like a touch football game.
Yeah.
Why get yourself beat up in that stupid game?
Well, that's what I mean. Why even play it then?
Well, NHL All-Star game, they weren't hurting anybody either.
Lowering the drawbridge.
You got the...
No, I'm upping
air.
They stopped playing them. They stopped blowing down here with one of the goofy machines, these idiots.
Speaking of yesterday, though, by the way, Patrick, the Grammy Awards were last night. And
all right,
who won?
Well,
Lizzo was a winner. So was
who is he? Or is it a she?
Lizzo's a she. She's the one that sung about the Minnesota Viking that she knew.
But I was reminded of one of my two favorite all-time pro athlete tweets that we referenced on the ride. Do you remember this at all?
Okay, let's go.
Adam Pac-Man Jones
was
a cornerback. He played for the Bengals, and he had a feud with then Steelers wide receiver Antonio Brown.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Brown pretended to be injured in the mind of Pac-Man Jones, and he tweeted out, "His acting's so good, he ought to win a Grammy." Oh, the Pac-Man.
Who was our favorite ever?
That's Jabari Price.
No, he's great. But the guy from the Vikings, he never really made the team, but they brought him in as the wide receiver from Canada. And he was the guy. Remember that? What was that guy?
Lieutenant Dan guy?
He was a guy that, he had two topics. His love of the Lord Jesus Christ, and all the strange women he was spending. And he was very upset because some woman, he came over and used his restroom in a manner in which he did not approve. And what was that? I don't remember. Nuts. He was nuts. He was hilarious.
Oh, was that not Moritz? Was it Moritz Boehringer?
No, that's a German guy. This is a kid from Canada who was the funniest ever. Oh, I'm dedicating the day to the Lord. And the next one, boy, you should have seen what I took home last night.
Oh.
Well, he had everything covered.
Yeah, he did. He had all the angles covered.
Lieutenant Dan was Jabari Price. That's one of my favorites, too.
Mm-hmm.
Do Lieutenant Dan have legs in real life?
Yeah, that's true.
All right, Patrick.
All right, we good?
I think so.
Good.
I think so.
Monday Night Sports Talk.
Yep.
We have room for more sponsors. Come on in and join the fun.
All right,
that's an endorsement.
Goodbye.
See you, buddy.
All of the Fort Lauderdale area just heard that.
Exactly, and you can catch more podcasts from the Monday Night Sports Talk if you go to PodMN. It's an app on your phone. Sign up for the app, and you can follow all of your podcasts that you choose to subscribe to. Also, if you can't do it on your phone, go to podmn.com. Just a reminder, Garage Logic is also available there, garagelogic.com. If you have any questions, just email Reavers. It's not that difficult. podmn.com. Monday Night Sports Talk podcast version. Catch you next time. Brah.
Hi, this is Chris Howard, host of Plugged In with Chris Howard. It's crazy to think that a few weeks ago we were talking about whether or not Tua Tagovailoa should consider retiring after 2 concussions and worldwide debates on player safety and NFL culpability. Tua has done nothing but go back to work and currently has the Dolphins riding a 3-game win streak and 1 loss behind the division favorite Buffalo Bills. While everyone was yapping about the end of his career, Tua Tagovailoa said he'll decide when it's time. And clearly he's not ready to hang up the cleats. Hi, this is Chris Howard from the Plugged In with Chris Howard podcast. BetOnline.net is your #1 source for betting football and the start of the new basketball season. Find all the latest player developments, team matchups, news, podcasts, and in-depth analysis on every game. BetOnline remains your continued source for all your sports wagering information with live betting, up-to-the-minute scores for the fastest and easiest way to check in on all your favorite games and events, including the MLB playoffs, the start of the NHL season, MMA, boxing, and golf. And if you love sports podcasts, you can find those at BetOnline as well. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more. BetOnline, where the game starts.